to today's card class. Today we are going to make a beautiful gel print card. One or two, maybe whatever you have time for or the inclination to do. You might get so excited and make many more cards. They are lots of fun and are beautiful. Okay, so to get started, you will need a gel plate. Now, whatever size you have at home is going to be fine. This is the new Squarely gel plate from Lavinia Stamps. And this is what's made this beautiful square on top of this. But if you have a more like C6 type size, then your orientations will be different. So whatever you have at home is going to work fine. Or if you do want one of these, this is the Squarely Lavinia Stamps gel plates. You'll need some distress oxides. Today I'm using Forest Moss and Prize Ribbon. And you'll need some dye inks. So any dye inks that you have is fine. I've got the Lavinia Stamps Elements, Mermaid and Pine, and I'm going to use the Fairy Hugs Seville stamp, the A Little Magic Can Take You a Long Way, and the Wreath Builder stamp as well. So an archival ink blending brush. I've just made a quick Hill mask just cut from cardstock, but you could use a pre-cut one. A brayer, some glue and some glitter if you want to add glitter to your wings. You'll need an acrylic block, stamp press. You'll need some 12 by 12 cardstock that you cut at 6 inches if you are going to make the 6 by 6 cards like I have. And then the white cardstock is cut at 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Now we're only going to need 2 for the class today to create the cards. However, if you want to cut at least 1 more or 2 more to have underneath your gel plate, it helps you when you're lining up the print to get it as close to being in the middle as possible. Okay, so to get started, we are going to ink up with our brayer. So inking it up, I'm going to start with the Forest Moss Distress Oxide. And we're going to start from the edge and we're going to build that colour up into the middle. Now some of the colour is beading up a little bit, but we're just going to keep blending that in until it's nice and smooth. So if you're finding it's not working so well, just roll off some of the ink and then come back in to blend that colour onto the plate. Then on the scrap bit of paper, roll off your ink just like so, and then we're going to add some prize ribbon on the top. Okay, so we'll turn this plate. Again, we're going to start on the edge and then we're going to bring that colour down into the middle, bringing that down into the Forest Moss, coming down and then blending back up again, and that creates a beautiful blended line in the middle there. Okay, so once you're happy with the base, rolling off the ink. Now instead of a scrap bit of paper, you could have your art journal next to you and roll that off, or roll onto some scrap cardstock and create another background, which would be beautiful. Okay, so the next thing, we'll need our scrap bit of paper. We're going to stamp on our inks. So once we have our pigment ink on, we're going to stamp with some dye ink. So this one is the Lavinia Stamps Pine. I'm going to ink up the stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on to to the background here. So then it's going to be not a super strong colour in the background, but it's going to be nice and crisp and clear. And you can come down the side as far as you want and come in as far as you want as well. So cleaning off that stamp, we're going to add a second wreath stamp, and this time we're going to come in with the mermaid colour. So again, inking up, stamping off, and then just inking in those gaps areas. So we just want a light background colour, nothing too heavy. There we go. So before we pull up the print, we're going to grab some pigment powder. So this is pigment powder mixed with the bronze pigment powder from Contour Creations, mixed with some water. I'm just going to pick up with my fan brush and I'm going to tap that on. So I'm going to focus on the bottom of the card and the middle, not too much on the top there. Okay, so once you're happy with your splattering there, we're going to grab our cardstock, line up where we can, place your cardstock over the top, and then just press down lightly. Just make sure that we're picking up our full image. And there we go. So we've got some nice splatter down the bottom and a beautiful section up the top. So we can put our gel plate to the side. Then we can grab the scrap paper and come in with the pine ink pad, inking up the branch again, lining this up right on the edge where that is, and then going back over the top. So you get a mix of solid and the background colours as well. So just be patient with your stamping so you get a nice mix of the stamped images. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is stamp our fairy onto the background. Okay, and this one I would do on with the stamp press. We're just going to pick up any bit that is still a little bit wet. Okay, working out where we want our fairy to be. We're going to give her somewhere to stand. So work out where you want your sentiment to be as well, so that you can get the placement where you want it. So you could do this at the same time. I'm going to do the fairy first and then the sentiment afterwards, because I want to create the space where she's going to be standing on first. Okay, so then inking up the silhouette stamp with archival ink. Press that down, give it time to soak into the cardstock so you get a nice, crisp, clear image. Hopefully it doesn't lift too much. How's a little bit, so we'll have to line that back up again. Okay. That up again. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so before we add our sentiment on, I'm going to give our little fairy, just ground our little fairy. So with our heel mask, which you can create out of just a scrap bit of cardstock, I'm going to lay that down over the top of our fairy to make sure she has somewhere to stand on. Figure that out. Okay, once you're happy with the placement, with your blending brush, pick up some of the pine ink, start on your mask and then come off slightly. So you just want to build up that colour along the edge of the mask and not come down too fast. We need to add a little bit more colour. Just go in and grab that, start on the mask and then come off. So you can lift that up to see if you're happy with it, or see if you want it to be a little bit darker. You might just add a little bit more colour just in the middle here. Really make that stand out. There we go. So the fairy has somewhere to walk along. So we'll give her a little butterfly to be talking to. So I'm just going to use the mermaid ink to stamp the little butterfly. There we are. Alright, so then we need to add our sentiment. So adding it back on to our stamp press. I'm going to have the sentiment come in just off to the side, so it's making the most of the area and just helps it stand out a lot more. Try to get this stuck down so it doesn't lift. Alright, inking up our stamp. moved a little bit on me. So if you do find that it does pick up, sometimes it's easier to pull that off. Line it back up again on your stamped image and then pick it up to ink up again. That stops that shadowy effect. Beautiful. Okay, we have our stamped image done. Okay, so now we need to finish off our card. So to finish that off, we're going to grab a black marker and a ruler. We're just going to draw a line on the outside. Just to frame this. Now I'm only going to take it as far as the hill. Then on this side, I'm just going to go in between the words as well, so it comes right down to that top of the hill to match the other side. Connects into the words, doesn't go over the top. There we go. And then to do the outside, you can line that up on a piece of paper. You can place the ruler right on the edge of your paper, and you can use a paint pen, just a thick marker to do this, and then you get a nice thin black line. This really helps highlight that edge without going over the top too much. So ruler right by the edge of the cardstock, and then just mark up on the side. There we go. So the last thing that we will do is the glitter, but we're going to stick her on to our cardstock, so that gives the glitter time to dry. So you can just score it at 6 inches or fold it in half, and then we are going to tape this one down. Right, line our card up in the middle, and release paper up, stick it down, and that is beautiful as is. But if you do want to add some glitter, some little shine to our fairy here, just going to add a bit of glue in the little openings and gaps of her wings. So this is just PVA glues, there's nothing special. The glitter will stick to most glues. Okay, and before we add some glitter on, we're just going to add a little bit of the anti-static powder tool. This helps the glitter not stick where you don't want it to. It's just grabbing your glitter. This one is the pearl glitter from Fairy Hugs. Popping it over the top of our glue. And then tapping it back into the pot there. There we go. There is our beautiful card with glittery wings. Now you can create two of the same cards. These are actually the same colors, but I've used more of the color on the second card than I have on the first. So it's amazing the difference it can create using different amounts of ink as well. So have some fun, enjoy making these cards, or challenge yourself to get your gel plate out and give it a go with the inks that you have at home. We hope you have enjoyed creating this card with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.